All right, fastest 15 minutes on the internet, fastest 15 minutes in social media. My name is Judson Powell. Today I want to talk about the entertainment industry, specifically movies, and how they relate to black people, and or I should say the descendants of Al-Kebulon. I've been looking at all this stuff, and they've been talking about Tyler Perry. And they've been talking about, basically his latest movie, A Fall from Grace, and how bad it was and all that kind of stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not a Tyler Perry fan at all. I wouldn't, I'd really, if it's being shown in the house or anything like that, I go to another room. I don't even sit there and watch it, okay? I have watched a couple. Don't get me wrong. I have. I'm not going to lie. But it's just not my cup of tea. That's just not the kind of stuff that I really like to sit there and watch. But if it's your thing, then cool. That's what you like, cool. But what I want to do is I want to talk about how basically the entertainment and movie industry has really tried to do us in. And one reason why I believe wholeheartedly, that Bill Cosby is in jail. All right. And so we have to really go into the like when black people, first of all, every time in the early days of the movie industry, the reason why I know a lot of this stuff is because that was my undergrad major. Radio, television, and film was my undergraduate major. And so I had a couple of professors that used to love to talk about how the staging and everything, how it affected black people. In fact, they used to show us stuff all the time. Like, look, okay, like even the camera angles, the lighting, all of that. Just like, did you know that the lighting systems in Hollywood studios are not, or in television studios are not geared or not set up for black skin, especially dark skinned black people? Is really not. And, and this is done by design. It's done on purpose. Or if you ever notice, like whenever they did pictures of black people, and once again, especially dark-skinned black people, they always did it. The camera angle, they always showed them looking down upon the black people. I mean, and I could tell you, there's like a ton of this stuff, right? And it was done purposely. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't, because they couldn't. It was because it was done purposely. Or, stuff like filming the black person was always on the left, or the black person was always in a subordinate position to the white person. And then, of course, we had the oh my God, the big eyes, the bug eyes, and all of this kind of stuff. Now, let's fast forward to the future, right? Everybody is a pimp, a player, a drug dealer, a prostitute, a drug addict, a hustler, something negative. They, whenever we were in movies or whatever for the longest time, then all of a sudden we became the stars of the movie. But guess what? Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Servants, maids, butlers, chauffeurs, all that kind of stuff as well. But then all of a sudden we got to the black exploitation era, which was my era, the 70s, the 60s, the late 60s, the early 70s, the 70s, or whatever. We had all the black exploitation movies. We had Shaft, and all of those, Cotton Comes to Harlem, and they're just different stuff like that. And so, we got to look at things from the standpoint of they are. And they were always, we finally had black heroes, Jim Brown and Machine Gun Kelly and, and people like that, so Richard Roundtree, let me not forget him, and Ron O'Neal, who was Superfly. And so we had all of these people, right? And they were all, but the problem was that none of them was shown in a proper light. They were all shown as, once again, they were either people that fell from grace and then tried to restore themselves, or they were completely disgraced, I should say, in the terms of, they were hustlers, they were pimps, prostitutes, all of that kind of, and everybody had the dress, the way they dressed, and the way, and it was not, none of it was, what you would consider to be mainstream. In other words, you could not wear what Ron O'Neal wore and go and get a job on Wall Street. Okay, that was not going to happen. And furthermore, they wasn't showing no black people. And if they were black people on Wall Street, they were police informants, or they were or snitch, as we call them now. They had, any black man that had on a suit and tie, and look kind of like normal, like mainstream normal, he was either a cop or he was a snitch. Okay. And so as time went on, you have to realize that these images, okay, and that's why when everybody says, oh, I liked a lot of the movies, don't get me wrong, and then of course, we had the Pam Grier thing and the whole, Foxy Brown and all that. As a matter of fact, you can even go and all of the rappers, basically all of the rappers like Foxy Brown, like Biggie Smalls, all of those names were all taken from where? From black exploitation films. So that's how you can tell the impact of how it affected to the black community even to this day. All right. And you have to look and say, okay, because that was like one of the jokes, Hiawatha Smalls, and people like that. It's like you got to understand that stuff had a tremendous impact on our community and still does. Even to this day, what rappers call themselves after gangsters, even the ones that were in the Italian mafia, we still use those names, right? And where did they find those names? They found them in movies, on television, later on. But most of this stuff occurred because of the entertainment industry. And then let's fast forward a little more. All of the black people, every black person basically that's won an Academy Award has won an Academy Award for what? For cooning. Or being some negative, just like look at Denzel Washington's portrayal of Malcolm X, and then look at his portrayal of Alonzo, in Training Day. But he won an Academy Award for Training Day, but nothing for Malcolm X. But that's by design. That is completely 100% by design. All right. And then Spike Lee finally won an Academy Award, and he should have won an Academy Award for Do the Right Thing. It was one of the best movies that was ever made. But then they waited till he gets to some, lesser quality, lesser known movie, and he wins an Academy Award. The same thing, Halle Berry, she plays a basically a bed wench. I mean, come on, let's be real, but Billy Bob tearing that butt up, but guess what? That's what got her the Academy Award. But, she played in other stuff, but, no mention of it or anything like that. And of course, let's not forget Hattie McDaniel, who basically, she won the Academy Award for being, yes, boss. Do you see what I'm saying? So those were the images, for being a servant, for being a nanny and all of that. That's what she won. That's what she won the award for. And that's how come everybody, one thing that I liked, I saw Monique in an interview. I was looking at it on the internet one day. And Monique said, I don't want no Academy Award. She was like, I don't want an Academy Award. She was like, I want an NAACP award. She was basically like that. I don't want an Academy Award. If I got to get an award, I want to get an NAACP award. She said, if NAACP call me, I'm going to go crazy. But if they give me Academy Award, it's cool. I'll put it on the show. But and that's kind of, even though, and let's not get it twisted, we know that the NAACP has its faults and everything too, and the founders and all of that kind of stuff. So we can delve into the white supremacy history of that as well. In fact, maybe I'll do another video about that. But what I'm trying to tell you is that Hollywood is white supremacist. It's a white supremacist control. Just like think about cowboy and Indian movies. And they always made the Indians out to be the bad guys and the savages. And it was the white man that was taking their land, but they were somehow bad guys and savages for defending their land. And they made a whole genre of movies about and turned the white boys into heroes. They was heroes, Well, we saved the Northwest Territory from those savages, So take entertainment for what it's worth. It's entertainment, but guess what? It's also doing damage to the psyche of the descendant of Alkebulan. It's doing damage to us. Just like right now, when you look at all this thing, and so now the big debate is with Tyler Perry is, okay, is Medea harmful or is it good? Everybody's like, oh, he got this, he got the biggest movie studio, in the country. Okay, so what? But if you got to do it in a sacrificial way, if I got to give up everything, if I got to wear a dress to do it, then what have I really gained and what have I sacrificed? And what does those images say to young black men? They already tried to emasculate us. They already talking about toxic masculinity and all this kind of stuff. They don't want a man to be a man. And that's the only reason why Tyler Perry is, once again, that's the only reason why he is put in the position. When you get a man that has that much money, any man that has that much money, and he does not sell out to white supremacy, you go to jail like Bill Cosby. I'm just telling y'all. See, Bill Cosby never sold out to white supremacy. Bill Cosby put positive black images in everything he did. He never, even his black exploitations movie, Which Way Is Up and Let's Do It Again and all those movies were not negative movies. They were showing positive things, positive images, as opposed to some of the other ones. His role on I Spy, I think, what was it, the Electric Company. He did all kinds of genres of television, but every time he did television or movies, it was always to show the African, the descendant of Alkebulan in a positive light. And that's why he's in jail. Wake up. Because they had to, and it's like, once again, I mentioned Felicia Rashad, and I said one of the main reasons why I believed her was because she said, hey, this is all about character assassination and being able to destroy his legacy. You don't think, look at Harvey Weinstein and all these guys. You don't think that these guys were hitting on the women? If you I don't care who you are. If you're a man and a beautiful woman comes before you, you are going to be affected. You are going to feel some kind of way. And if you don't, then I got problems with you. I mean, I'm just being serious. My wife is beautiful. And, the first time I saw her, I mean, I kind of, I was like, I had to take a second take and look at it. I was like, my goodness gracious. Okay. And not even saying if it's but when a beautiful woman is in your presence, if you are a man, then there is a chemical reaction. There is euphoria, because that's how the Most High created you and made you. It ain't got nothing to do with you, and then they try to say all this stuff. People, and the other thing is, during the 70s and the 80s, people were they talk about Quaaludes and all that. One of the biggest scenes in Scarface was what? He was high off of cocaine and what? Quaaludes. And his wife stayed high off of Quaaludes. That was just the drug of choice back then. It wasn't, it wasn't like he was any different or any more special than anybody else. And I'm not defending if he did that, I'm not defending it. But guess what? For you to come out, 30, 20, 30, 40 years later, and all of a sudden you mad and you think you're going to get some money. And the other thing is, once again, it's the Mike Tyson theory. Why are you at a married man's room at 3 o'clock in the morning? Because if you come to my room at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'll be honest with you, we ain't praying. It's not gonna be the study of the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Just be aware. And it's not, and I'm not, I'm not condoning any perverse behavior or anything like that. But I'm just saying, come on, y'all, these are grown people. Think about it, and think about the negative aspects that Hollywood has portrayed us as throughout the entire history of Hollywood. That's what it was created for, whether you realize it or not. Fastest 15 minutes is over. I love you. Hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the love button.